Hi, my name is Katerina, spelled like this, and I also make videos on this channel here. So yeah, I am comfortable with talking about my relationship with Linus. I'm here today because some of you were curious from my perspective and were curious to see what I thought about relationships with Aspie. Aspies. I This is on a personal perspective because truly dated twice, and the second time was with Linus. However, I do have years of experience with him, and I do hope that it will be helpful. However, I do have a video on my channel with him because I know some of you did ask for that, and I'm probably gonna be here more times. Some of you asked. Let's see if Linus says yes. So let's start. Okay, so first of all, I did see his video, and of course I do comprehend where he comes from, what his ideals are, and how it was different for him to be in a relationship. However, the interesting thing is that I myself am strange and unique, like Olivia did, and I think that also helps with our relationship because, for instance, let's just say people with Asperger's do have different traits, and it could be daunting to them to have a relationship with someone that doesn't understand them completely. My case, I started reading about it, I started asking him, I started trying to understand what does make him the way he is, and that's not a problem. I enjoy every single trait he has to offer. And I think, first of all, perceiving how your partner is and trying to understand him is like the first brave and conscious thing you should do in a relationship, and that's probably why we do work. It can be a little daunting if you don't understand anything about Asperger's. In my case, I didn't. The first contact I had with the theme even was with Linus, and that's not a problem. Having or not having Asperger's, being in a wheelchair or not being in a wheelchair, just having social insecurities, that's just not the issue, in my opinion. Because if you love that person, you understand that person, and you try to make everything work, and you try to just perceive that person and understand them in a way that makes him comfortable, in my case, and also makes you comfortable. I think one thing that helped, though, is the fact that I don't like games. Like, some girls do those games, and I do not understand how that works or why it works, because in my opinion that never had worked. And I like the fact that he came up to me and said, I don't lie, I don't do games, I don't want those games. And that was the most amazing thing he could have said. Living with an Aspie isn't really anything different, in my opinion. However, there are certain little things, like certain pet peeves that he has that are acquired because he does have Asperger's, but that's not really a problem at all. We just talk about it. We have this rule, which is you have to say something, you need to say that thing, then talk about it, and with sincerity, and that's usually the thing that works the best for us. Sometimes he can be nitpicky, but I'll tell him. I'll be like, Linus, stop. You need to cool down. And he understands what I mean with that. Because people sometimes don't look at certain details. And I know the devil is in the details, but sometimes your brain is so tired that you can't think straight, or you can't do something straight or correctly. And what I noticed with him is that his brain works every time. Like, he doesn't sleep. He needs pills to sleep. So you need to tell him to stop a little, to breathe, calm down, because sometimes that can be troublesome. At least if you yourself are trying to do something very half-assed, I would say, and he really isn't like that. He saying that he changed, he does get out of his comfort zone so many times, and every time that happens I notice it, but I let him, because it's, in my opinion, it's good sometimes to get out of your comfort zone, because that's how you build resistance, that's how you get stronger. At least in my opinion, I do that. I mean, he told you guys about the fact that I came here. I don't know how to speak the language. I have no one here. The only family I have here is him. And that's being out of my comfort zone. But I felt like I needed to, because I needed to be with him. Something he did the other day when we were in the pharmacy, and I enjoyed, thoroughly enjoyed, was we were in the pharmacy and we have little tickets to go when it's our time. But a lady was there and it was her turn, and she didn't see it, and she was gonna lose her time. And he actually approached her and said, "It's your turn. It's your turn. You can go." And I was mind blown. I don't know if it's because he's living with me and I'm giving him little traits of my character, because I'm a very loud person. I'm very forward and outspoken. And sometimes I'm really shy, of course, but part of me is that loud person because of my heritage. I'm Portuguese, I have to be loud. And I just really enjoy that, because I thought that was such a good thing, a strong thing for him to do. I'm really proud of him. He changed so much. He has more confidence. He's not as nervous around people. I notice when we're in the store, however, that he doesn't look people in the eyes. He barely even talks back to them. Like the cashier, when she wants to give the receipt back, he doesn't really accept. He just goes away, and I take it for him sometimes, because I notice he doesn't like doing that. But at the same time, I notice how different he is from 2009 to now, which is just, I'm really proud of him. Some of you guys talked about the fact that you can't change, or you yourself have been self-centered and find it difficult to change. I mean, if you have a passion in life that is so strong to the point of getting out of your comfort zone, that itself is changing. I mean, the fact that you're actually considering something new, that is changing. In my opinion, it's even evolving. Your personality doesn't stay the same from when you were 15 to now. Speaking in English for us is actually pretty easy. English is when it's considered, I'm bilingual because I lived in America, so it's not really a problem, and he has his English got so much better from like years ago. Because so I think that's good. However, I am trying to learn Swedish, and it's kind of difficult now because I tried to implement a little bit of Swedish, but I still think we're gonna speak in English for years until until we stop. To be quite honest with you, using English is so much more forgiving because I noticed that Swedish is a very restricting language and Portuguese is a very rigorous language. So English is better. English is more malleable, and that's not really a problem. I have to say that Linus has a type of character that is quite unique, and like all of us, he stands out. And it's also easy for me to notice everything. I don't know if it's because we talked every day for 5 years, 6 now, or if it's because I have these feelings for him that I notice every single detail in his body, in his language, but I can pinpoint everything. And and I told him this recently, there's no way you can do anything without me noticing because we're too attached. That's not really a bad thing. He notices immediately when I'm concerned or sad or angry. So, yeah, it's not really a problem. And you shouldn't change or hide it. Maintaining a relationship isn't supposed to be this arduous workload that you're going through. I think if both parties are respectable, understanding, protective, and just plain out human, that you will get along. I mean, keeping a relationship can be troublesome because you have, like, when you're alone, you just have to answer to your own self. However, when you're with someone else, you have to keep in mind that what you're doing for two now, because we are a family. And that's how I see it. And with me comes my whole family, and that's kind of overwhelming for an Aspie, so I try to make him more comfortable with the idea. Some of these things I'm saying might not be what you concur with, but for a non-Aspie, I believe that it is important to try to understand the person you're with, albeit being a woman or a man, or even a different religion altogether, or a different type of heritage. He's Swedish, I'm Portuguese. I lived in America, he's only lived in Sweden, and he was so afraid to get out of his little cubicle. And I myself was afraid of actually living with him because I know he likes his privacy. Though what helps is I also like my little corner. I think that was overwhelming for him, and even though we have a bigger house now, he's always next to me. And if I disappear from the room, which happened today, I was reading in bed, he actually searched for me. He searches for me, he sees where I am. If that's not a symbol of wanting to be with someone, I don't know what it is. And that's what I'm trying to say. An Aspie can be afraid of or panicked of having to live with someone and sharing that space. But you will grow so accustomed to that person that if that person isn't with you anymore, you will see them there even if they're not. What I'm trying to say is that you will grow so accustomed to a person, to another human being, that you will want to seek companionship, to all those girls out there that I've read comments asking Linus, they're non-Aspie, how should they change for that Aspie person? You shouldn't. You should comprehend him. You should be on his side. You should be his friend. And then you'll see the benefits. You'll see the fruit of what you planted. Our relationship is one that is still growing, of course, because we always change. And I don't think that's bad. Some people are afraid of change, right? I've read some of your comments and some of you are afraid of change. But I'm telling you right now, change isn't bad as long as it's for a certain purpose. If it defeats that purpose, I don't really see the point of it. However, I do think that change is important, and that's really it. I am very happy with him. I do have a peace of mind now that I didn't have when I was living far away from him. I like the closeness. He was afraid of the closeness, and I was too. We were afraid of meeting each other and of having a rejection on one of our parts. I was afraid of him rejecting me, and he had the same issues, or if he wasn't comfortable. You want to know the most interesting, amazing thing is that when I saw him, first of all, I thought he abandoned me because, first of all, I was very nervous because everyone went out of the plane and gates were closing and there was no Linus to be found. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, where is he? Because there's always a pessimist part of me that emerges, and I need to work on that. However, he appeared, and the first thing he did that it dumbstruck me was he hugged me. And then he said, I'm sorry for being sweaty, I smell bad. But he hugged me, and that was so amazing for me because I was trying my best to be nice to him, to be understanding, to give him his space. And the fact that he was just hugging me at that point without even thinking. First of all, I could see him shaking. I could feel him shaking, and I'm so grateful for him having to do this and for having done this in the first place. And if that's not a proof of love, I don't know what it is. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I am nagging Linus to make more videos, which I'm very proud for him starting again. Yeah. And I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my very mellow voice today. Sorry. Yeah. Bye.
I'm gonna go upstairs and watch the video so you don't have to worry about what you're saying.
I don't care.
No, you can. It's like one of those psychologist things where you can say it in peace, but then if it's something later on you decide that was mean or something, you can cut it out because I wouldn't have heard it anyway. So, you know. Like in Big Brother when they go into the separate rooms, but then they put it online anyway.
Yeah, so you can so you can hear.
Anyway,
That's yeah, okay. Thank you. Mwah.